The mid-afternoon sun hammered the asphalt of the port of Algeciras, Spain. Heat radiated off the steel shipping containers, invisible, distorting waves. Amidst the industrial chaos of grinding gears and shouting stevedores, a small, sandy-colored dog moved like a ghost. She was a stray, invisible to the workers in high-visibility vests. Her paws burned on the blacktop. She wasn't looking for food. The heat had taken her appetite hours ago. She was looking for shade. She found in the gap of container 4042's door. Inside, pine-scented crates offered relief from the burning tarmac. She curled between a pallet and the wall, tail over nose, eyes closed. 10 minutes later, the world ended. The doors slammed shut with a boom that shook her bones. The locking bars clacked into place, followed by the final snap of a security seal. Her bark bounced off metal walls and died. The port's roar consumed her cries. Then gravity shifted. The container lurched upward. She slid backward against wooden pallets as her prison tilted 45 degrees. After a minute suspended in darkness, the box descended with a bone-jarring thud. Deep in a ship's hull now, the floor began to vibrate, engines roaring to life. That vibration would not stop for 40 days. The first week taught Mili the physics of suffering. By day, the container became an oven, the steel walls radiating heat until her tongue hung uselessly from her mouth. By night, those same walls turned frigid, stealing warmth faster than her small body could generate it. She wedged herself between wooden pallets, shivering. Hunger gnawed, but thirst tortured. By the fourth day, her mouth felt stuffed with sand. She stopped moving, conserving moisture. On the seventh night, a squall hit. The container's walls flexed and groaned. The air changed. Mili lifted her head. Something metallic and wet cut through the dust smell of the pallets. She dragged herself up, legs wobbly, and pressed her nose against the corrugated wall. It was cold and it was wet. She stretched her neck, extending her tongue to the limit. She licked frantically, chasing the tiny droplets in the pitch blackness. This became her ritual. Every night, she would stand on her hind legs, trembling with exhaustion, harvesting the wall's sweat just to keep her kidneys from shutting down. Time dissolved. There was no sunrise, no sunset, only the rhythm of the engine and the cycle of the heat. By day 20, the hunger had taken her muscle mass. Her ribs protruded like jagged ridges under her matted fur. She spent 20 hours a day in a comatose sleep, fading atom by atom into the darkness. Then the storm hit. The ship pitched aggressively, throwing Mili across the container. She slammed into a wooden crate, the impact knocking the wind out of her lungs. The noise was apocalyptic. The screeching of metal rubbing against metal, the thunder of waves hammering the hull. Mili crawled under the bottom shelf of a crate, pressing her head into her paws, waiting for the crushing weight of the cargo to fall. But the ship held. The storm passed, and the silence returned. Day 40. The engine stopped. Mili lay on her side, a skeletal ball. She barely registered the change. She was drifting in and out of consciousness. Then the world tilted again. The crane had returned. The container was lifted, swung through the air, and dropped on concrete with a jolt. The air outside felt different, thick, humid, tropical. Hours passed. Footsteps reverberated on the pavement. Voices spoke a language she didn't know. Then, the sound she hadn't heard in a lifetime. The snap of bolt cutters shearing through metal. The heavy iron latch groaned. The doors swung open. Light. It was a physical blow. The tropical sun of Panama City flooded the container, blinding in its intensity. Mili flinched, burying her face in the corner. Two dock workers stood at the entrance. They froze. The smell hit them first, ammonia and decay. Then movement in the shadows. Madre de Dios, one whispered. Mili pushed herself up on her front legs. Her back legs failed, dragging uselessly. One of the workers rushed inside, reaching out a hand. Mili didn't flinch. She leaned into his touch, her heavy head collapsing into his palm. She was nothing but skin and bone, a ghost wrapped in fur. He scooped her up. She weighed almost nothing and ran. The veterinary clinic was a blur. They laid her on a stainless steel table, her body temperature so low the thermometer struggled to register it. They introduced nutrients drop by drop, coaxing her body back from the edge. For 3 days, she lay motionless in a warm kennel. On the 4th morning, the vet opened the door. Mili lifted her head. Her ears twitched, and for the first time in 44 days, her tail gave a weak, tentative thump against the bedding. Recovery took months. Her coat turned from dusty gray back to warm sand. But something in her had changed. She wasn't just a stray anymore. She was a survivor. 6 months later, a black government SUV pulled up to the cargo terminal. The back door opened, and Mili jumped out. She wasn't looking for shade this time. She was wearing a fitted black harness with the words K and 9 units stitched across the chest. She walked onto the dock, alert and confident. She moved down the line of newly arrived shipping containers, the very same metal coffins that almost claimed her life. She stopped at one, sniffing the seal, then looked back at her handler with a sharp bark. The dog who had been trapped in the dark was now the one guarding the gate. She had walked out of the tomb and found her purpose.